So the Bible calls this disobedience sin and describes its ultimate consequence. The letter to the Romans 3:21, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And that's Romans 3:23. That sin, the wages of sin is death. This creates a seemingly hopeless future for us because God is pure and holy. He cannot tolerate sin. He punishes sin. It's the only possible response consistent with his righteous character. But here is the reason that we can have hope. Even in his holiness, God is compassionate. He doesn't want us to meet our deserved fate. The Bible describes another side of God's character, and it should encourage you. God is love. John 1:4. He is patient with us, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. The 103rd division of Psalms. And he is rich in mercy. Ephesians 2:4. God's love and mercy are so deep that he wants to rescue us from the consequences of our disobedience. He sent his only son, Jesus, to die on the cross, to pay the penalty for that sin, disobedience. He sent his only son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross, to pay the penalty for that sin. Jesus experienced separation from God on our behalf, even though he was perfect. It is the ultimate expression of love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16, that most familiar Bible verse. As you have observed, I have been referencing our time together as an expedition. And I chose that term because the definition of an expedition is a journey of a group, specifically on a purpose, for a purpose, on a journey with a goal. Next slide, please.
Just a second, okay.
So as we continue on this expedition, the sorrow is the grief work that we shall embrace. And then the triumph is the pathway to healing. Next slide, please. So as we examine acceptance, one of the things we realize is that when people are transitioning or dying, they may precede the survivor, because in this state, it usually is followed with a calm. It is also accompanied with a retrospective view for the individual and a stable condition. Their resolve may be something like, I can't fight it. It's going to be okay. I may as well prepare for it. And in this last stage, individuals embrace mortality or the inevitable future of their loved one. Next slide, please. Grief is hugely mentally distracting. Selling the house, a house you've lived in for 30 years, not allowing yourself to process the memories, changing jobs, deciding to date again or remarry, perhaps prematurely. Counsel, talk to others, pray about it. Look at the pros and the cons. Loneliness can result in looking for someone to replace the one that you've lost, and it can turn out to be a disaster. Take your time. Don't make important decisions too quickly. Jesus really is the answer, beloved. Ask God to put the right person in your path to help you make decisions. Just take the next right step. Do the next thing. And if that's all you do, it's okay. Reach out to at least one person in your life that you know cares about you and will help you make rational decisions about the things that may affect you now and maybe in the future. Real estate, someone in that area. A business decision, someone in that business. You may feel like your mind is mush and that you can't think clearly about anything. But here's the good news. You don't have to have it all together. Let go. Try to let go of having it all together. Let go of not wanting people to see you weep or letting your children see you so sad. Embracing it doesn't mean you like it. You're just allowing it to take you where it will. Emotions take time, beloved. So avoid making big decisions. Decisions, and yet more decisions. Sometimes death will demand a decision. You may have to sell your house and move in with a family member, perhaps because of health reasons. Pray about talking to a person who is really competent about giving you good advice. Make sure that they are a committed Christian, perhaps your pastor. So as we look at this pathway to healing, listening to others can enable you, it can help you to connect with others as they share their emotions. And this often results in your healing, your being able to heal. Most grievers have an opportunity to open up and hear other people's journey. So as you go through the process, it will help you in your healing process. Finding others who can help you is one of the first steps on the pathway to healing. That is why you are in a good place and in the right space in this group. Because as unique and independent as our journeys are, we can relate to each other's pain. We can relate to each other's sorrow. This is not about being brave or a tower of strength, but what you will discover is the courage to do so. You don't have to share if you choose not to. And that's one of the beautiful things about a grief course like this. People share when they're ready. Sometimes it's extremely difficult, but what we have learned is that sharing with others without feeling that we're making others uncomfortable helps us in our healing process, which is why even when we become emotional, it's okay. We're in a space where you're fine. The more you are able to open up your heart to your feelings and emotions, it will prove to be empowering. So let's take a look at a moving forward and practical steps in order to move toward that healing and how to identify and grieve secondary losses. And I will be quite frank with you, I still get emotional when I do this particular slide.
Mm.
Yes, because you've lost more than a person.
Mm.
You've also lost everything that that person meant to you. Today, you'll begin the necessary step of identifying and grieving your multiple losses. We suggest you write these in your journal or on a separate page. Categorize and give examples. Examples are given to the right. List losses separately, asking for God's comfort and guidance. Say your losses out loud to God and grieve each and every one of them. Write down what you've lost in that person. So you'll see in bold it says chores and responsibilities. My cook, my mechanic, the bill payer as a guy. You'll want to develop your own list. And when I look at what I have next to this number one, I figure 2 out of 3 is not bad. Bill payer and my mechanic. Although I would venture to say, even before we got married, Michael did fix me a meal or two, but that's another story for another day. And then there's the child care, the nurturing, the one who reads to the kids, and then the ones who make them laugh. That was absolutely Michael. Hopes and dreams, and this is where it gets emotional for me. Retiring together, and then future milestones, things like traveling or just spending time together. So come back to this exercise as the weeks go on and add to the list. And then I have a personal favorite, and it's not sitting on the screen or on my screen, but it is my personal snuggler. Yeah, my personal snuggler, and I miss that. Bishop, next slide, please. So everyone should have received this attachment. This attachment was 4 slides that represent remembering who God is when we are battling feelings of grief. Did everyone receive it?
Yes.
The attachment. Excellent. Bishop, if you would be kind enough to invite our participants to share what they have selected. And if you can tell us which slide it is on, because there are 4 of them. If you can tell us what slide it is on, Bishop, I would ask you to advance to that slide if it is not on this first one here. If you would be kind enough to invite our participants to share.
Okay, let's begin with Deaconess Kittens.
Good evening again. Mine was Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. Because I say that all the time, and I said that before. No one is in your life permanently. Everybody is there for a season, and some of those seasons are longer than others. But as Bishop says, everybody's not always going to be with you, and that's the truth. People are not always going to be there with you, and you have to understand. And that's how I get through the moments when I'm feeling really sad. You know, God gave them to me for a reason and for a season. So that's why that passages and that scripture is relevant to me and resonates with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, because you're absolutely right. Even this season of intense sorrow and pain is a season, and it will not always be like this. It will not be as intense as it is now, or maybe has been. Bishop?
Sister Cleora.
My choice, well, actually I had 3. The 30th division of Psalms, and I have the Ecclesiastics also, and Matthew. Those were the 3 that really stuck with me, and I read them all, and those 3 were the ones that really stuck with me, and particularly the one with the tears and the joys comes in the morning, and sometimes it just seems like the joy is not coming, but I'm still able to deal with it, and like the sister said with the Ecclesiastics, that's sort of one of my favorite scriptures anyway, along with the 27 Psalms. And it's just I think about it, when I get a little emotional, whatever, I just sort of repeat, I just repeat it. And those that moan, they should be comforted. And that's the main one that I've been doing lately, is just that particular one, because that's what's caught my heart.
Yes. Yes. The
And
evil.
it's Creola. It's Creola.
Thank you, ma'am, for the correction. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Did you get that, Bishop?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think of you often.
Yes.
See, I'm looking at it and I forgot what you just spelled.
Creola.
Creola.
Yes.
Creola. We need to invert that L and that R. Creola.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I think of you often, particularly in the evenings. And so
Thank
I absolutely understand weeping may endure for a night, but joy
Yes.
comes in the morning. And I can only imagine 64 years of marriage that the last 5 with your care
Yes.
for him, perhaps a lot of the sadness and the tears are the memories of those awesome 59 years before your care,
Yeah.
for that
Actually,
intense need of that care.
I'm sorry. Actually, I went to visit his grave and I did not cry. So that tells me that I am getting better.
Awesome. Awesome. God bless you. And thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Bishop?
Ms. Renee?
Yes, sir. I'd like a couple of scriptures, well, all of them pretty much, but the one I'm going to expound on, I guess, is the 1 Thessalonians 4:13 and 14. But can I read it in the easy version?
Sure.
Okay, because that's how it ministered to me. It says, our Christian friends, we want you to understand properly about your friends who have died. Then you will not continue to be sad about them. People who do not have hope for any life after death are sad when their friends die. But you should not be upset like those other people. We believe that Jesus died and he rose again after death. So we also believe that people who have died as Christians will rise again. When God brings Jesus back, he will take the Christians to go with Jesus. So when I read that version, because I know a lot of times after my son passed, a lot of the saints would say, we don't grieve as those without hope. We don't grieve with those without hope. And, I'm thinking in my mind, but we grieve, and I have hope in the process of me grieving over my son. I don't think I lost, that had anything to do with my hope. I didn't, that's my understanding on that. But I like the one part, it's saying friends, but, you look at it as family, loved ones and all that. And I like how it says that we will continue to, be sad. And a lot of times, I just find myself being sad. Sometimes, like you were saying at one point, just accept it and just, you deal with the place that you're in. But I thank God that for myself, that I could find myself in the word is how I use the word to help me move to the next step.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that's huge. It's I believe it was last week where we said we have no hope. It says do not grieve as those who have no hope. That's what it read last week. Like those who have no hope. And what I indicated was that far too often we put the period after the word grieve. But it is important that we do grieve. because it's healthy to be, it's an expression of our love. It's one of the last expressions of love that we have for our loved one. Bishop, I believe this is so thank you so much, Sister Renee. And please let Brother Anderson know that he was missed this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now, this is Sister Hill, I do believe. Revel REV. If you would be kind enough to come off of mute, if you can. Sister Hill?
Yes, you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Mine is Psalms 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. My heart has been broken, but I keep praising God because I know He's bringing me out of it, and we're all here for a certain amount of time, and I have to keep giving Him the praise. I'm not the only one that has lost someone, and I am no different. It's something that I have to go through with, and also Ecclesiastes. Everything, there's a season and a time to every matter under heaven. And it was just time for Julian was born, and it was time for him to die, the same as for me. So all I have to do, I keep praising God and cherish the memories that I have of him, and God keep making me stronger every day. And I'll keep trusting in him.
Yeah.
And giving him the praise.
Well, thank you so much. I often say, because many of the participants in this 6-week grief management series are believers. And I've mentioned it before. And the fact that there are more non-believers on the planet than believers.
Yes.
Prayerfully, as we get to the finish line and move beyond, we become stronger ambassadors for those that will have an opportunity to point to our God, to direct them, to invite them, to introduce them to our God, which is very, very important. And so what I'm going to ask at this time, Bishop, if you can go to that 5th slide, I believe that is the personal checkup. And if you will invite our participants in to let us know where you are today. How do you feel? Pick one. Pick emotionally, physically, spiritually, or relationally. And let us know how you're doing.
All righty, we'll go back to Deaconess Kittens.
Okay.
Physically, I am wonderful because in the last month, I've lost 8 pounds, dropped the dress size, and my blood pressure is going down 25 points. I'm fabulous.
Fabulous. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is great. Bishop?
We're going to Sister Creola.
I'm still at number 1. Still,
okay.
I'm working on it, but I can't actually say it's better, but that's where all of my emotion, everything is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, everything is there, and I'm trying, and I pray, as I said, I pray a lot, and I just have to wait on the Lord, and I know He'll take care of it. I know He can. Mm-hmm. I know He can. He's able to do it, and I know that. Mm-hmm. So I'm just waiting.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But when you have an opportunity, Sister Creola, please call me again.
I
Because
was just wondering, what am I gonna do after next week?
you're gonna call me. You're gonna call me because I'll recognize that 347 area code.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I
Okay.
will recognize that New York City area code. So
Oh,
because I don't have any contacts in my phone, but I'll recognize that.
okay, all right.
And then
All right.
Sister Joy, you can send me a text.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Bishop, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
Ms. Renee?
I'm saying emotionally okay. I'm emotionally okay. Just taking it one day at a time and just, it's okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Matter is coming along.
Ma'am?
The matter is coming along.
Yeah, sometimes it gets stuck, but we pulling it
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
That's so normal because it really does take time. The more that person meant to you,
Yes,
the
Lord.
longer it takes.
Yeah.
The longer it takes. But over time, the intensity will begin to dissipate. It will begin to dissipate. And I think we mentioned it once before, and Sister Creola as well.
Mm.
You'll smile. You'll notice the changing of the seasons.
Mm.
You'll laugh, and you won't even realize it at the time. But when you do,
Mhm.
you say,
Okay.
I smiled, I
Mm.
laughed, and it felt good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate so much you sharing that, Bishop.
Sister Hill?
Yes, man, it's still emotionally. I'm getting better. I got so now certain things that I had of Julian's, like with some of his clothes,
Mhm.
I'm beginning to let go,
Oh,
to
right.
give them to somebody,
Mhm.
that can take them and use them. So
Yeah.
that's a big help too. But I'm still trusting in God.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, I am encouraged beyond measure that you all have stayed the course and showing up. Next week, I'm going to attempt some more. I'm going to attempt some music. We shall see. But I am just so pleased that you're here seeking to understand what's going on in your heart and in your head, and even physically. And I have to reiterate, you all are ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the healing curve because you know God is real.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
that God
Yes.
is real. And in that late midnight hour, when that wave just overtakes you, it's like just long enough. Sometimes it'll come um and you'll just when you think you can catch your breath, and then another wave will come. And
Mm.
it's normal. It's normal. So be encouraged and knowing it means that your
Yes.
feelings run extremely deep for your loved one. For
Yes.
your loved one. Bishop, we're a little early this evening, but if you wanna, if there are any questions or anything that anyone would care to say at this point. Oh, before I forget, next week is the new you. And yes, I know, I know. I remember that was when I was like, "What do you mean the new me? I've been Rosalind Aaron for the last 42 years.
Mm.
Well, how do you mean that?" But we're going to talk about the new you. And one of the things we're going to do that I have found to be most therapeutic is ask you to be sure to bring a photograph of your loved one.
Oh.
Bring a photograph to share
Mm.
with us of your loved one.
Mm.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
If everyone will bring that photograph so that we can honor them and memorialize them next Tuesday. Bishop.
All righty. Well, listen, again, thank you for your time, your patience, your attendance, and your participation this evening. Looking forward to next week as well. And until next time, do know that God loves you. We love you. We look forward to seeing you soon. So go in peace, joy, love, and happiness. For the author of the same goes with you. God bless and good night.
God bless.
God bless you
God
all.
bless you
God
too.
bless you.